Hello there, once again. I guess this video is not the one I predicted to be next, but I just wanted to go over something quickly to try to clarify something that might be confusing to some people, which is the idea of window procedure, or what WindProc we usually call it, and this other thing with dialogues called a DlgProc. Okay, now you would think that because of the similarity in the names, that those two things, those two ideas, would essentially be the same thing. But the fact is, they're not. The WindowProc and the DlgProc are two completely different beasts and are not to be used in a similar way. Well, here's a wind. I've brought this up, and this is something that has a WindProc, a random dots thing, right? This is just the private version of a WindProc, and this here is actually a closer analog to a DlgProc than a WindowProc, as it turns out. Because the thing that calls this, which is in here somewhere, which really is a window procedure, a WindProc, okay, in the end, calls this. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, now this is internal. I don't think this is a publicly exposed function. Yeah. And what this internal processing thing does is it calls a special function called DefWindowProc. Now this is global throughout the system, this particular function. And for messages that you don't handle or don't know how to handle, that's what this thing is for. For instance, one message you can send to a window, I've done here in my unit test, is a message to get its text length and then window text and so on. Now, I was using that window. Let me just use SPY to get an hwnd. So I just want to start from the point of view that we have an hwnd already, and we don't know what it's called. We want to get the text. So let me find an hwnd. Maybe this one. We have to do that, I guess. Okay. So there's the window. I think that number is the hwnd. And oh, I almost forgot. The reason I'm looking up this word anime, which I know has to do with, has to do with computer graphics, like images created just solely from a computer program, is because of the picture I have on my desktop of another beautiful woman. So the beautiful woman section is actually related slightly to the topic. So let's just bring her up here. Bring these down. Now the title, the name of the file that I downloaded for this image. I'd seen smaller images, and finally I found a higher resolution version of it. And here it is. And it says anime girl. So if this is correct, and maybe it's not correct, then this image was produced by a computer program. That's not a real person. Somebody made this by hand, right? It sure looks real enough to me. Actually, when I first looked at this, I thought that she was this actress. I don't know if you know her, the actress I'm thinking of. But I got a picture of the actress I thought that she was. Charlotte Rampling. And I could only get a small picture of her. But they look similar. Let me make this. See? They kind of look the same. And they might be the same. And I'm not really sure. I can't seem to find any other images of this beautiful, unreal girl. And even like, if you would ask me which of the pictures I have, which ones are real and which ones are computer graphics, the last one I would say would be much more likely than this to be computer generated. And she does look like based on this. Anyway, that's the beautiful girl smoking. I better fix the size for later. Now, yeah, so now that's the window I want. So 42, that is the hwnd, right? 420532. Alright. 420532. Alright, now I make windows and you make windows, and have you ever processed this message in your window class? And the answer, no, of course not. This is one that always gets passed down to the default handler, right? Which is a global function. But let's just see that it works with this window. I'm going to run up to here. We have an hwnd. Now the way you get the length is you send message, get text length. You have to use send message, otherwise how are you going to receive the result? Result says 44, which is not 0. So I use my magic auto string allocator. And now you send another message, get text, with a pointer to a buffer here. The size of the buffer here in T cars, and send the message. And that is the correct text. Okay, and I'm going to print it out here. Alright. Now that's, I just told you that a window procedure for a window like this one will typically pass this off to the default handler. What if I just called the default, there's something called DefWindowProc that I just showed you here. What if I just call it DefWindowProc? Forget about the sending messages or anything. Because it's a global function, I'm allowed to call it, right? Let's see what happens in this case. Same result. Strange. And there's the text. Now, that's kind of interesting if you think about it. No interaction here between this program and this program occurred in obtaining its window text. I just called a global function with this name and with this value. It couldn't have sent any message to that window, right? Because that window would be calling the same function back again, and it would end up in a loop. So it turns out that you can use this DefWindowProc like that directly, and get for something like this, you'll get the same result. And in fact, I used to have in my string, I might even put back in one of my strings constructors. I have one constructor that takes an hwnd as its the thing to construct it from, and it uses this same sequence of calls to set the string to the window text. Now I can do it this way or the other way. Is there a reason why you would want to do it one way? Is one way preferred over another? This is not really related to the question, but it is of some interest. I'm going to take another window and make this thing run. And not under the debugger. Well, okay, well, first let's just verify that it works. Okay, we can use the spine. No, 2050 BCE. Alright. Now, of course, now this should work again with that window. Say bouncy bouncy. Whoops. No, oh dear. Is that this one, or I got two? No, I'm gonna kill one. Will that kill it? Is it dead? I only have one. I hope I only have one. Anyway, I meant to be running this one. Bouncy bouncy. Okay. And close this. And just make sure there are no more. What's called draw thing. It's okay. Now what I'm going to do this time is something that can occur in a window. It's always possible. For instance, you'll notice that if I hit the escape character in this for this window, it goes in. It tries to obtain a lock of some sort. Okay. Now, if that was that is a lock that could time out theoretically forever. So what I'm going to do is make it time out forever. That is, I'm going to introduce into this program a block. So its window procedure is going to be block. I've got to be careful I don't mess myself up again. it's running. Get back over here. Okay, now as it's running, I can still announce window. Window handle. EF0490. Remember, right? Okay. Alright. Now that worked with DefWindowProc. Now I'm going to hit a key, escape. Now the window procedure of this window is hung. It's in a hung state. Let's see if we can still obtain window text. No problem. Once we tried it using the prescribed method. Just run through this slowly. I'll run up to here. Same window handle. Now I'm just going to try and get the text length. See? My program is hung because that program is hung. Although it's possible for me to retrieve the window text of that window, if it happens to be hung, and if I've got a program that wants to go and retrieve the window text, let's say of all windows, and one of them happens to be in a hung state, then my program hangs. So this method of obtaining the window text is vulnerable to a hang. There's no way out. But the other method, just calling DefWindowProc, has nothing to do with what the window's doing. That's just a basic global standard function, and it can retrieve the window text without any problem. Okay, what about a dialog? Well, a dialog, the horse thing is a dialog. Those things have to implement, instead of a WindowProc, a DialogProc. And I should have examples where I'm not using my classes, but the regular old DialogProc, right, is exactly like this is, in which it's a Boolean function. It's something where you return true or false, and the thing that calls this function, the thing that calls the class specific DialogProc, is also in here. Here's the DlgProc stuff. So here's a real DlgProc. Now this is, again, I'm telling you now, this is not a WindowProc, and it's not to be used like a WindowProc. Here it is calling another DlgProc. There's no place, there's no def. There is a function called DefDlgProc, but you never call it. This thing must never call DefDlgProc. You can look it up in the help too, and it tells you. Not that. And the reason is because there's a level below the dialog. There's a window. There actually is a real WindowProc, okay? And that real WindowProc is called DefDlgProc, and that DefDlgProc calls DialogProc. So if you called it, you'd get into a recursive loop, and it says so here somewhere. Applications that create, no, not that. Here. The DefDlgProc function must not be called by a dialog procedure, otherwise you get a recursion. Okay, so DefDlgProc, this is not a dialog proc, so it's badly named. What it really is a WindowProc for a standard dialog. Okay, and that calls another function called, which you implement, called a DialogProc, and your DialogProc returns something like true or false only. This thing returns an LRESULT like this normal WindowProc does. Now you could, if the running thing, that window was a dialog, I could probably use this to obtain its window text directly. This is a global function just like DefWindowProc, but it has special handling for dialogues. And I bet I could even tell you what the address of this function is. I bet it's, whatever was that number? 7. Oh no, with a button. It's going to be the same for all dialogues. Can you print it out? Forgetting about this for a minute. This is something else I was going to explain, but now I won't. In itself, it's a WindowProc. Because it has all of the characteristics of a WindowProc. Returns an LRESULT, takes in the same. This should, I don't know if this is signed compiled, but I don't see why it shouldn't. Because this is the right type already. Okay. Send X. I could have just put it in directly, I suppose, couldn't I? Whoops. Back to T cards. Send X. It's afraid that it's not really conflict. This might silence that. I know it's going to have to be a long PTR and all of this. Everything is. Okay, 76785BC1. Now let's get a dialog up. That's a dialog. Correct. Fine. Probably subclass. Its WindowProc is different. It's a special thing. I want a more basic dialog. Wait, it's the class. Yeah, it's not a dialog class. something that's, a dialog class is a special. Well, run the. What is it? Okay. Run the little animator. Now I know for sure that that's a dialog, a regular dialog. See, that's the dialog class. What's the WindowProc? 767 85BC1. Coincidence? Doesn't seem like a coincidence. This is the window procedure for a dialog. And that's just all there is. That's the end of that story. That is what that DefDlgProc is. It's the window procedure for a dialog. And so therefore a DlgProc, the type of thing that this TS dialog implements, a DlgProc. Okay, that's the when you create a dialog, you call create dialog. You have to pass in or not create dialog. This one of these types of functions and create dialog. The pointer to function that you're supposed to pass in is the type DlgProc, not WindProc, DlgProc, and a DlgProc will tell me as this prototype. Now it says int ptr, but really it's only supposed to return true or false. And that DlgProc is called by the window procedure of the dialog, and we actually know what that procedure is, and it's the same throughout the entire system. Okay, now I hope you just understand the difference now between DlgProc, which is something called by a WindProc and returns things like true or false, handled or not handled, and DefDlgProc, which is a WindowProc that calls this, and a WindowProc, which is the main procedure for all windows. All windows have a main procedure. Special windows might have a special callback like this. Our TS windows have a special callback, which is more analogous to a DlgProc than to a WindowProc. Why? Because we would never call DefWindowProc from within our WindProc. We can't. This is private. We have no access to it, and we shouldn't call it. Right. Well, we could, I suppose, but yeah, no, we could call it. It's just a global function. We can always call it, as long as we don't. What we can't call is this, right? Because that will then go to this and may bring us back into a cycle. Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think, well, you don't have to worry about that because it's private, but that's sort of the analog of DefDlgProc, which is a real window procedure, and DlgProc. DlgProc doesn't call that because it's not supposed to. And here, this thing where I put the bug in, is the thing that we override that looks more or less like a dialog proc, and it's true. We could call the global def dialog proc, and when we do so, we have to indicate to the function that called us that we've handled the message, and for it not to go ahead and do the same thing. Okay, that's all. And then we'll continue with the rest. Now with that explained as well as I can, and I'll just end with another picture of this presumably fictitious image that just came out of someone's head. It's apparently not a real person. Kind of sad, really. Well, I'm interested in this person. Very interesting. And it's black and white too. You can do anything you want with the computer, but I guess in order to make it look more realistic, by making it black and white, it seems less likely to have been computer generated, maybe. Okay, till next time.